Debs, we know you've read this book. Probably not that long ago in the grand scheme of things. So, we know you don't reread things really. I know, but I do watch TV series adaptations. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you have not been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. I also actually quite like watching adaptations, and so I realised when Magpie Murders came out on the BBC that I never finished watching Magpie Murders, and the book was brilliant. So, I've actually got the book right here. I actually found this book under my bed and it was only the one book in this particular bag that I was trying to get to. So, I felt like it was a sign that I needed to rewatch and finish off the TV show. The book is a book within a book, which is how the TV series does it, but it does change the timeline of it slightly. In the book, the very first chapter, you see Susan Ryland, the editor, sit down and she reads the full manuscript of Magpie Murders, which is basically what you do. So, you sit down and then up until it goes quite far, all of that, minus the first couple of pages, is the entirety of the book within the book, Magpie Murders. The rest of it is Susan trying to figure out what happened to those last chapters. Well, the single last chapter. I absolutely love the TV series. I thought it was really, really faithful to it, and I absolutely adored the cast. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. The cast of the TV show, you've got Lesley Manville as Susan Ryland, who also narrates the second book, if you have the audiobook. I listened to the second book as an audiobook, and Lesley Manville narrated that along with somebody else playing Atticus Punt. We've got Tim McMullen as Atticus Punt, Matthew Beard as Fraser, Conleth Hill as Alan Conway. By the way, I absolutely adore Conleth Hill. I think he was absolutely brilliant in this. We've got Claire Rushbrook as Katie Williams, which is Susan's sister. Alexandros Logothetis, apologies, playing Andreas, and Daniel Mays as Chubb. And then you've also got a full cast that double up in the portrayal of Magpie Murders and the search for the final chapter. So, yeah, as I said, in the book, you literally read the entirety, minus the last chapter, of Magpie Murders before you then go into Susan's search for the final chapter. And going into the book, I did not read the blurb properly, and I was completely dumbfounded when I got to that point and was like, oh, hang on a second. This is literally a book within a book. So yeah, with the way that the book is set up, it would be completely illogical to do this in a TV series. So what do? They do it side by side, mirroring each other. So, as the chapters are relevant to real life, you actually see them side by side. And I found it really cool and seamless the way they would integrate the Magpie Murder story with the modern story, through just like following a car and sort of following the landscape as it was just so seamless. It was so cool, it was so clever, and I've actually just finished watching Moonflower Murders, and it's quite similar with how they do that transition, and I just think it's brilliant. So I kind of want Anthony Horowitz to keep going. I have no idea if there's any plans to, but I kind of want him to keep going with more mysteries regarding the Atticus Punt series, because I just think it's brilliant. I think it is so good, and I definitely recommend the audiobook. But I will talk more about Moonflower Murders in a proper sit-down video, talking about the book and the TV series. But yeah, it is just so clever. It is funny, it is heartwarming and heartbreaking in every way, because you're also looking at Susan's love life and her family life. I don't remember her sister actually really being in the book. There is references to her sister in the book, but I feel like her sister's been more fleshed out to really make Susan a bit more sympathetic, because as I was very aware watching the TV series, in the beginning Susan is actually quite unlikable. You know, you're very aware that you've got all these things surrounding the author. In the TV series it's established very, very quickly what is going on with Alan Conway, and the fact that he is diagnosed in the first episode. This is something that you don't actually find out about his diagnosis until more than halfway through the book, obviously. But yeah, in the very first episode you're aware that Alan Conway is not well, and so when he dies, it's a bigger twist in here than it is in the TV series. I just loved it so much. I thought the TV series was so good. It was filmed so well, and I absolutely love Susan's style. I think that's a really bizarre thing to comment on, but in regards to like costume, I really love the colours that she leans to, because I mean obviously Leslie Manville is she a real life, is she a natural redhead? I'm not sure, but she does have red hair in this. I'm not actually quite sure what her natural hair colour is. For all I know, she could be a blonde in real life. She might be a strawberry blonde naturally, or is it just something that looks natural on her? A lot of pictures show her with darker or blonder hair with some slight red highlights. So yeah, I think she might naturally be kind of maybe a strawberry blonde redhead. I just absolutely love what she wears, and it's the brown leather jacket that she wears in the series. I mean, in the second series I was waiting for that leather jacket to come back. I just really, really enjoyed it. In regards to how faithful it is, it's extremely faithful. And as I was going through, I mean, admittedly, I was able to pick up on the hints more in the TV series because I had already read it. I love that they didn't really change anything in regards, like, there might have been a couple of bits that they left out, but generally it was very faithful to the murders in Magpie Murders and the ensuing investigation, and the fact that at the beginning, Susan isn't the most sympathetic person. You know, she finds out that her long-term author has passed away, and all she wants to do is find that final chapter. It's all business for her, rather than thinking about Alan. But then as you go through, you realise, obviously, that Alan wasn't the nicest person. She had a very tenuous relationship with him as the editor. I mean, I don't think she ever went to his house. They always met kind of in a neutral place, and he was very manipulative. So as you go through, you get more sympathy for Susan and the people that Alan worked with, because you find out just how manipulative Alan actually was. And I just loved the reveal of all the different hints in the text, and like the anagrams and things, and the big reveal of what the anagram of all the titles is. I just thought that was a really, really clever way to kind of bring it all together. It was genius, and something that doesn't happen in the book is Susan actually communicating with Punt. They found another way to kind of bring those together, because I mean, I think in the book it's more like what would Punt do type thing, but in the TV series, to really bridge the gap between the story within the story, you have moments where Susan is talking to Punt in her head, but it comes across as a visual representation of Punt. So you see the actor playing Punt actually talking to Susan, and I think it was genius because you had to have those two together on screen. You couldn't just keep them separate, and I think that was the point and why they decided to do it like that, because Tim McMullen as Atticus Punt, I bow down. He's absolutely brilliant. I don't think I'd really seen him in many things before this, but once you see one thing where you're just like, oh my god, I think I need to see everything this person is in. Anybody else like that? Yeah, I just thought he was absolutely genius as Punt, and it was very, very obvious why they decided that these characters needed to talk to each other, even though it's just Susan talking to him in her mind. But it is very, very clever the way they seamlessly get that story within the story to kind of work together. The reveals in regards to the double characters, in regards to actors playing people in the modern story and also in the book within the book, as you find out like who's based on people basically. It's just so good, it's so clever, it is so brilliant. If you have not read Magpie Murders, I definitely recommend it. It's definitely up there as one of my favourite books I've ever read, even though it completely threw me for a loop because I didn't read the book properly. The TV series is just as good. It's one of those ones where the TV series really complements the book without changing too much. It just took the most important things and made it a brilliant mini-series. It's only 6 episodes. The same with Moonflower Murders, it's only 6 episodes. But yeah, it was just bloody brilliant. Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz. He also helped to adapt the TV series. I know he wrote the second series. Did he write the first one as well? Yeah, he prepared the script. I think he officially wrote the script of it, so he adapted his own book, which is probably why it works so well. I loved it, I thought it was brilliant, I thought it was genius, and yeah, Magpie Murders. The TV series was perfectly cast. I love the way they integrated the story within the story but changed it slightly so it would actually work on screen, because seeing the full Magpie Murders and then going into the mystery just wouldn't have worked on screen. You completely understand why they had to do it the way they did it, but it was just so seamless. I really just love the way that they did it. Susan turning up at a house and then that merging into the detectives walking up, and yeah, it was just done so well. It was so seamless. The cinematography of it all was absolutely brilliant. I can't not mention the cinematography when you're talking about the seamless shots going between the book within the book to the modern mystery. And yeah, considering the fact that they didn't change anything, it was quite interesting watching it go in. I know exactly who did it and I know what hints I'm looking for. But yeah, I just thought it was brilliant, and I thought that Conleth Hill as Alan Conway, because I mean, I don't even know what the last thing I saw Conleth Hill in was, because I definitely saw other things with him in while he was doing Game of Thrones, but it has been a while since I've seen him in something. So yeah, I just thought it was brilliant, and I do love the fact that something I will get into more in this when I talk about the second book is the fact that they did actually bring him back for parts of the narration of the second series. Magpie Murders, I recommend the book. The TV series is a very faithful adaptation, and yeah, it was brilliant, genius. I absolutely loved it. I think the reason it worked so well is because Anthony Horowitz himself was involved majorly in the adaptation, so he knew exactly what he wanted to be brought to the screen. Oh, perfect timing. I set a timer because I'm at work today, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't talking for too long. But yeah, so that are my thoughts on Magpie Murders and its TV series adaptation, which was done with BBC. Oh, it says it was PBS Masterpiece, but it aired on the BBC in the UK. And each episode is about 45 minutes. It was never a full hour. Thank you so much for watching. I will be doing this for Moonflower Murders as well, because I listened to the audiobook of that and then I actually finished the TV series last night. So it's not far off. If all goes well, you should be seeing that video on Sunday. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time with another video, which will hopefully be Moonflower Murders. I love you all. Stay safe. Bye.